Evening, everyone. This is the Air Conservation Commission meeting. It is Thursday, March 28th, 2024. Commissioners in attendance: Jenna Maya as member, George Bacon as member, Jess Gugino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, myself, John Schmallenberger as chair, Heather Hampson as conservation agent. We have confirmation of agenda.
Yep, no changes.
No changes. Motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously. Approval of the meeting minutes for March 14th, 2024. Anyone have any changes?
Nope. Look good.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 14th, 2024 as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay.
I'm going to say, I think it's the paper you use. I had the same
I
problem.
think I should get a heavier gauge.
I don't know, but I had the same problem with them.
It knew it was from me.
So I think it's the paper you use.
All right, I'll try a heavier gauge. Maybe I should steal something from town hall. It's all for town use.
It's not
You could
stealing.
just wait to sign the ones I give you, and then we wouldn't worry about it. I just give them to you.
Oh, from the ones you print out?
Yeah,
You could do that.
yeah. We'll do that next time.
Okay, let's do that. Going forward.
Okay, yes, going
Okay.
forward.
Public input. I think we shall pass that part tonight. No public here. Our first item this evening is a public hearing, notice of intent that we will open under the Wetland Protection Act and also under the Air Wetlands Bylaws. DEP file number 100-0487, Lot 3, 3rd Street. Construction of a single-family residential dwelling within the 100-year floodplain. Floodplain map, the updates.
Yes. From what I could tell on it, looks like it, from the new proposed plan, that it goes further up on the lot, but again, those aren't final maps, so we really can't work off of those, but
Okay.
it does look like the area gets more into it.
Yeah.
But again, they're really hard to read.
Yeah.
I liked it when they didn't have the Google Earth overlay on the bottom.
So the main issue was that one area for stormwater collection, right? That to take down some trees, move some boulders, and make it so that in the future it won't cause problems for the owners. As far as
Yeah, so basically it's a portion of the proposed house, as well as we added, there's some additional filling that was done for the stormwater, or not stormwater, but the rooftop infiltration system.
Yep.
That claimed a portion of the bordering land subject to flooding. So in order to compensate to re-provide that flood storage, we proposed to create this area here by lowering or altering the topography to accommodate for that loss in potential flood storage. So, and then when we kind of left the site walk, we talked a little bit about this being, the far reaches of that 100-year storm event, which is several feet higher than what the pond is, the likelihood of that flooding, and whether or not it'd be worth, whether there was a need to even provide for that storage. And the one thing that's kind of come up since is we've also filed for site plan approval with Planning Board. And in the bylaw, based on the floodplain overlay district, we also are required to compensate. So I think, based on my understanding of that bylaws,
Yeah.
I think
You have to.
unfortunately we're going to have to.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to verify. So yeah.
Yeah, initially I was sort of opposed to it, but I think I've changed my mind since then. And I don't want to cause problems.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at how high the groundwater is last year and then this year so far.
Yeah, no, that was the question that raised to me when I reviewed the floodplain overlay bylaw. The way it's worded, it looks like we need to include that So I mentioned it for them to verify, and I think the town engineer was going to look at that as well, and the town planner was aware of it. So I think it has to be done.
Okay.
And I said it's fortunate. Unfortunately, it's one of those like
Right.
it stinks to lose the vegetation, but it's something we have to do as a precaution for the house that's going in there.
Yep.
Just as a for instance, if we were to do it, what really would end up happening? Would essentially just that green line move a little further to the road?
So this,
Across the whole...
yeah, so this dotted line, I think was what you're saying, like, which is, this is
Right.
just based upon elevation.
Yep.
So now that green line would follow, kind of right along, it's 226.9. So let's just say
Right.
right inside that contour, and then this line would now extend there. So that would be, this line is going to go this way, and this line's going to come that way. And then the end result is we're actually providing, just based on the volume calcs, the way that it works out with the grading is we'll actually have a little bit of additional flood storage provided, just the way it works.
And so the flood calculation is it goes to 226
Yeah.
all the way to the eastern end, the western end, everything goes to 226.
Correct. Yeah.
So the volume that you're carving out for the...
Compensatory storage.
Yeah, the storage.
Yeah.
What does that volume create from an impact across the whole thing? Are we talking like a quarter inch across the whole topography of the 100-year flood?
So I think essentially what you're asking, what I'm saying is,
How much is that going to
there's going to be a very minimal, there's going to be more storage provided. So if you were to calculate that and say, what's the difference? I mean, it's going to be negligible. You're still.
I guess that's what I'm getting at,
Yeah.
right? So
That's the idea. Yeah.
the volume that you're taking away, what's that in relation to the volume of the water that's already there? Right.
So
what I mean?
if we didn't do the storage.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing, a little over, just under 3,000 cubic feet. So it's not,
On this
so,
property.
yeah. So if you
And what
look,
I'm saying is, what's the volume
If you
of the
translate
100-year,
yeah.
across all the water? Because that's the idea, right? It's the volume, 300,
Yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, 3,300 square feet, I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically a total of, it's 2,700
All right, let's just say
cubic
3,000.
feet. Yeah, so what's
3,000
that
cubic
volume,
feet.
And then you look at a floodway, I mean, that's a complicated calculation to say, but yeah, you're talking about, less than an inch probably overall. But, being the requirement.
for the floodplain overlay bylaw, which, when you look across the town as a whole, we have very little, if any, buildings within the 100-year floodplain, and that's actually a good thing. And I think part of that reason is the overlay district that we have, the zoning, so to keep any construction being put in the 100-year floodplain. Other towns that have, more flooding, because the
Well, then I
river are having.
understand,
Yeah.
right? But I guess, so if we have a 100-year flood, right now, this green line goes right through the middle of the house.
Yep.
If it's through the middle of the house at, what's the? So this is the 100-year,
Yeah.
Yep, so that's
once
elevation,
it's put in, I'm
Yep.
sorry, yep, go ahead. So this is 226?
226.9 feet.
Okay. So let's say that .9,
Yeah.
that tenth, let's say we go to 227, if you weren't to do this. So 227 is going to sit where? Once this home is installed, this is 228, right? So it's going to be a foot below the edge here, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's by elevation, so it's going to be just below this 227 contour. So it's going to come right down along like that.
So while I know we can't change it here, I guess I'm just asking that we should acknowledge what the actual delta is of what the elevation increase would be. And we're gonna get rid of what's going on over here, remember?
Is that little hillock
Right,
with the
right.
tree, big tree and,
With all the trees and, you know, all the good stuff there, so. And it's it's written into our bylaw?
Yeah,
or
zoning
our
bylaw.
planning bylaw?
Yeah, it's a zoning bylaw, yeah.
Okay.
It's a zoning bylaw overseen by the zoning enforcement officer and the conservation. The floodplain is overseen by the two of us.
Okay.
So he has
So I
to
guess in
prove
the
it,
grand
and we
scheme
would
of
have to have a
things,
permit.
I prefer not to see us make the compensation, honestly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think with the bylaw, there isn't, without going to ZBA, I think for an exemption to it, I think it's the only way to do that. At this point. I mean, I understand, I understand the point of it. I understand your point, but, because it's a small amount, but
Yeah.
it was one of those things
Be
like,
something we should think about somehow or another, figure out how to, I mean, I understand obviously if you're doing a massive development and, you know, going in and, you know, really impacting a lot of wetlands and stuff. Obviously, yes, we don't want people building in a flood zone, but for what this really is, to unfortunately have our hands forced, you know, into doing it because it's in the bylaw, this is an exemption that I think should be considered, but.
No, well, I think I agree with you, but it sounds like we're kind of locked into it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, think of a 100-year flood on Grove Pond, which may not be a pond much longer, also.
yeah, who knows?
Right, so,
It's one of these things when it goes through the planning process, when we do what we do in this office, it goes through the planning office department, that whole part, I can bring those comments up and see where it goes from there and that aspect from it, and see what we do with it there, but there's not much we can do here now.
understood. Okay. No, just, like I said, I just want to make sure
I know,
I'm understanding it and,
yeah, no, I read through that, I was like, oh crap, I think we're gonna have to do it. It's like, darn it.
yep,
Because I'd rather see the trees not go either, but I also know the concerns, and I was surprised it took so long for the state had no comments on it, but of course it's our zoning bylaw. The concerns everybody has on rising groundwater. That's one of the biggest issues with climate change right now, is the rising groundwater and the amount of sensitive storms, so.
although it can also flip. I saw an article today that Canada was positioning itself as the hydroelectric power generator of the world.
Yeah.
And now they've been experiencing such severe drought.
Yeah,
That's
they
gone
have, is it
away.
all the state's resiliency plans that they've been working on for the last, what,
Yeah.
4 years now? They've all been saying that it's, the rate of stormwater is gonna go up anywhere from 2 to 6 inches
In New England.
in Massachusetts. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things like, well, we need to look at those projections as well.
How much will go up, stormwater go up?
Depending on what section of the resiliency plan you look at, I know Jonathan saw a section that said 6 inches. Everything I've seen said 2 to 3. So you're adding 2 to 3 inches onto your 10, 20, you know, your stormwater events, so.
and what was that requirement put in the zoning bylaw?
When was it? I don't know
Yeah,
that zoning bylaw. Well, I would assume, I don't know if it was carried over from the old zoning bylaw, or it was amended when they did it back in 2017. I know it hasn't been touched since then, whether it was carried over from 2017 or added in 2017, I don't know.
Okay. Thanks for the info, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, there's no way to reposition the location of the house that would reduce that impact, just,
I mean, basically what we've come up with is with the zoning offset to the front, you know, we've pushed everything about as far as close to the road.
Yeah, we had the sewer easement in there too, because I remember bringing something up like that when we were on site, and, you know, you said, well, with the sewer easement there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, you're kind of stuck, unfortunately. That's really the only place that's buildable.
yeah.
And that
And
sewer
this is-
easement.
This is the setback, right? Probably
Yeah, I mean,
Probably
it's
minimize as much as
basically,
possible.
we pushed it as
That's
far,
right.
we have like a foot of play, just to
Right.
kind of give them a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, because that sewer easement also is gonna play into the fact of where you put your storage, your flood storage. And the grading on site, because the closer you get to the water, the steeper it gets.
Yeah, so a lot of the placement.
Bigger hole in the water. Only 3,000 cubic feet of it.
I mean, what do you want to do with that contaminated soil you got in there?
Pull out the water chestnuts a little deeper every time.
I mean, as you said, we can certainly maybe recommend to the planning board.
Yeah,
that
we said we
they-
can bring it up to the planning board and see what happens on that, but I think the way the I have to verify how the zoning is written, because it might have to end up going to ZBA at that point, I'm not 100% sure. But I'll mention it to them, and I know I've already submitted comments, but I'll revise them as well on that aspect, and I'll be at the meetings anyway, so we'll make sure that concern is brought up.
All right.
Anything else? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the notice of intent, the DEP file number 100-0487, as written?
So moved.
Second.
With trepidation?
Well, I don't have to vote for it though, correct?
Do we
Oh, we
have
can-
any special conditions besides the normal template that we have?
So is that going to be in the orders?
Yes.
Just, I don't know, anything past normal?
I don't think so.
Signs.
Signs.
Always signs.
Always signs.
That's going to be normal, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be that's one of the new normal ones. Always have signs.
Okay.
But I think I'd ask why they have signs and the next door neighbors don't.
Yeah, probably. I'll get that.
Well, we have no jurisdiction over the next door neighbors.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, if we put the signs on, yeah, I mean,
But this lot being on sort of the end, it's the other two houses.
the
are-
buffer is way outside, right? The only thing that's in the buffer is the flood storage.
Yeah, but this
Right.
property, it
They're not
has that
clearing.
curve around. So it's got it's got more frontage for.
I can see the planning board will throw the condition in on their site plan for the 3 lots. And then we don't have to do it on our. But, to make them all the same, but
So
No
no,
disturbance at all on the other 3 lots?
not within the 100.
Okay.
They're not clearing that far. Because it's sewer easement, so they're leaving everything the same.
so there was a
So
motion.
what, you get a phone call?
I'm used to those. I got a lot of phone calls this week. Yeah, I'll put signs in there.
You're not going to vote?
Oh, I'm just going to vote against.
Oh, okay. Well, you can make the motion now.
He
You can
did.
second it.
Again, we can't really change it. I'm not going to hold them up for this, but
Yep.
just as a point of reference.
So is there a second?
He did.
Yeah, you seconded.
You did?
Yeah.
Just to move the,
With trepidation.
actually, sorry. You want a second? You can second if you like, Jen.
I second it. I super second it.
Let's do it.
I've never-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay.
We have one nay. 4-1. Passes. Very good. And you will draw up orders?
I did drop
You
the
did
orders.
draw
I
them up?
haven't done the special orders. I wanted to verify there wasn't anything outside the norm, any extra special ones, so I'll do the special orders, print those out tomorrow, and I'll be all set.
Okay, great.
So George, if I nay,
You
when
don't.
it's approved, I still have to sign it though, don't I?
No.
You can still sign. It's actually, the signing has nothing to do with anything, because if it was a 3-member board and a supermajority, so it's 2 to 3, you'd still sign it. You don't have to. But I'm just saying, like, I learned this a while ago. Yeah, it's the actual motion in the minutes that counts. It's not the signatures. But it's entirely up to you.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Just saying, Reading.
So once you get that special
Yeah.
conditions written up,
Thinking about that.
grab it, we'll still
Green.
have some time to go.
Yeah, you do, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll let you know.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
When are you
Night.
starting your project?
As soon as we can get through the special permit process, hopefully.
The site plan and stormwater with the planning board.
Month and a half, month, something like that.
You've already started on the other two, or you have to do site plan for those two?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they had started, and during one of the on-site meetings is when it kind of came up
Ah.
that they were subject to site plan approval, so they stopped.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, land clearing over so many
Yeah.
square feet, yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
all right, thank you very
Great
much.
night.
Have a good night.
Too. Motion to close the public hearing. Notice of intent, DEP file number 100-0487.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. All right. Next item is a discussion, Friends of Pine Meadow Land Stewards.
Well, I invited everybody. I don't know where they all are. I know Jonathan said he couldn't make it.
Yeah, I know Kathleen said she couldn't make it either, but I don't know about Andrew.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's fine. I make the effort. It's okay. It was more or less, a couple months ago, I met with a gentleman that's part of the Groton Trails Commission.
Yeah.
So he gave me the website of a company to use for signs.
Oh,
So I ordered those Monday or Tuesday.
the little discs? Or the
Yeah,
colored
so these
discs?
they're fairly big. They're 5 by 7.
Wow.
Which the only other size was 2 by 2, and that's too small. And I measured it out, and when you put it on a tree and stand back, it's going to be a little bigger than what the paint is on there now, but they're reflective. They're metal. I ordered 40 blue, 40 yellow. I think that's the color we have there now, and then some of the white. So the whole I was hoping to get an idea of when people are available or not available, so once those come in, we can schedule a time to start reblazing trails. Because won't that be nice to be able to find them?
I was walking back in there a week and a half ago or so, and then towards the gun club, there is a maze of trails back in there. And none of them are.
None of them
maybe
marked.
one of them is sort of official, but
Yeah. So the whole
Yeah.
the whole point is to get not point, but the whole hope on there is to start blazing the trails, and then figure out from there what we need to do next. Whether we want to do signage for where they fork off, for where the pond is, and then go on from there. Because I do have another company that we can look at too for signage, but just slowly do a little check off some of these little projects as we go through on there. But I'm like, I knew trails, blazing the trails was the most important one. And the fact that they're reflective would be nice when it's
dusky.
dusky, yeah, that you'll be able to see it a lot better.
Yeah.
And then we need to, down the road, update that map that Steve Smith used to circulate.
Well, that map is actually on the old trails site. That's, I don't know, I think they made it. I don't know nobody else. So
Yeah.
I don't know how we would update it. If we'd have to have a
Yeah.
surveyor go out and GIS shoot it, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Steve Smith, isn't this coming up the time of the year that he?
Yes, they are coming, I think they're coming at the first meeting, I think they're coming at the next meeting
We can ask him
for their CR update.
how he did it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I can. Because I said, I just Googled it and it came up on a website, so that's where I printed out, and that's how I knew the colors. So, and then going there too, because I had a thought of some of the offshoot trails, having those be like a double color or whatever, as opposed to the single, and then that way we could find it that way. But I don't know if that would be positive or negative, I don't know. So, we gotta figure that out, but at least get the main trails remarked.
Yeah.
That's a plus, and then figure out what trail signage we want to do from there after that. And we'll see how quick these signs come in, and I'll know how quick the other ones will come in.
Yeah, we should try to set up a time to go out there and actually walk the trails and can you, is it possible to get a GPS location off of a handheld device?
They do. I don't know how much they are.
Your cell phone. Your cell phone should have it.
Well, not mine, but
I'm sure there's an app for that. Jen, do you know?
Not for his.
Probably. All trails probably has a map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you could just come to an intersection, locate it somehow on that thing and write down what you want to say at that particular point
Yeah,
and have the signs made
yeah, All Trail. I think I have
and
it
put them on a
my-
post.
Trails.
How many people did you invite?
Oh, I think it was about 10 to 15. It was, the list was quite long.
That doesn't bode well, does it?
I mean, I know Jonathan said he couldn't come because this is just because of my own self. This is Holy Week, so it's Holy Thursday, and I didn't know if that. Then I thought like, oh, maybe that's gonna play into it. I didn't even think of that.
Monday, Thursday.
So I don't know if that played into any of it at all or not.
Oh.
And the weather, like I know my
Yeah.
mother's watching the kids, and she has a hard time driving at night when it's raining. If that was playing into any of it too.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'll email everybody again tomorrow or Monday and see if I can get a date that works best for everybody. Just have them shoot me like 2 or 3 so we can, whether it's during the week or on a weekend, just so we can go out. And I'd assume that the Trailblazers will be in another week or so. I don't think they'll take too long.
Yeah.
And so we can figure out when we can start doing that.
Okay.
I'm assuming it would have to be a weekend, wouldn't you?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
I would think so. And then I gotta figure out how we attach them.
Because Jen wanted to do all of the work.
I like to,
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how we're gonna attach them to the tree. I was assuming we have to nail them in, but
I have a nail gun.
I have one of the staple ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like high gauge
All over your
nails.
hose.
It's
I just have a staple.
battery.
Oh, no. Look at you.
I mean, it's not like super high gauge nails, but
Yeah.
it works.
And then figure we start with what I ordered. We need to order more. I can do that. We're all set on that end. So, and then because I was out, so I gotta because the signs that go to the pond and trail like that obviously needs to get replaced. Whether we want, how we're gonna do that.
There's one sign back there now that it wasn't installed correctly. I think it was just attached to the tree solid and the bark's growing over it, over the metal sign. I mean, a lot. So it's got to do it properly too.
Yeah, you leave a gap so
Yeah.
the tree can grow.
Yep. Okay. I mean, there's no official head of this particular.
No, it's more or less just a, project that we wanted to start because we have this beautiful piece of land that everyone always
Yeah.
says, oh, who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? It's like, well, when I was in Littleton, we had land stewards for every single conservation land we had there, and they would get reports from them once. I'm like, well, let's see if we can get something like that going here. Right now, it's more or less freelance. We'll try to narrow it down and get more of a organized thing as things go forward. But right now, it's just
Okay.
a group of volunteers to help us do some projects out there as we go forward. And then once it's more well established, we can pass it off
Yep.
for them to go and just report back.
Sounds good.
That's the goal.
Do we have much on our agenda for next month?
Just the CR, just the CR right now.
Yeah. So maybe when you send out an email, maybe hype up the next meeting
Yeah.
and say, we're going to be picking a date, and
Yeah.
assigning tasks. It's real.
Yeah.
And maybe we could bring brownies in. We'll feed you refreshments.
Yeah, we can work on something on that.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
That's all I have. I'll update you on the other activities on that site later.
What's that now?
So I'll update you on the other activities that took place there yesterday later.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is that the photo you sent us? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an interesting photo. Okay, next item is a review of the Shaker Pond Conservation Restriction.
Yes, so I sent that out for everyone to review. It came back from the state, the attorney Alan Shockett for Danaho for Shaker Mill Pond, and town council. I sent it to Danny Ruiz, the town planner, to review to make sure he was okay with everything on there. He had no issues. I didn't see anything. I know Jess brought up the whole access section to it, which Attorney Shockett had the same question, and Danny said that that's more or less in there, so we can do restrictions if we need to. It's not in there to actually restrict anybody. It's just language in there so we can. So the actual sentence is this conservation restriction does not grant any right of access to general public, and the grantor retains the rights to prohibit access to the premise by the general public. So it's basically in there so you can deny access, not that we're denying access. It's meant for public access. That sentence is in there if in the future it can happen. More or less as restriction as far as certain sections go or anything like that.
Why?
If anyone was encroaching in on it on one section, I would say if they found a bunch of vandalism was going on in certain areas, they just needed to pull it back.
Just close that part down.
Yeah, that's my guess. That's why that's in there.
Okay.
And that's what the town planner saw as well, because that's just a standard thing that gets put in there, just so it's in there so it can be restricted if the need comes, but not to actually restrict it.
So the grantor is Aho?
Grantor is Aho, grantee is us.
Yes.
So he's gonna
Had
go
to
away
mark
at
it
some
down.
point. He's gonna go away at some point.
I believe it's because everything's in it is in a HOA.
Okay.
They
So
also list the trustee of Shaker Pond, like the trustee. group.
So he's not, he owns the land that's in the open space and we hold the CR. Is that how it works? Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So he's not going anywhere.
So it'll stay in his unless it goes over to the homeowners or whatever association.
Yeah, if it goes over that. But then I believe the way it's written too, that's, if I remember right, because it copied everything that was, which I have to verify that. I didn't see it in here, but some of them have listed that they give money aside for it, but I don't
Well,
think
be
this one
whoever
had
the
that.
trust goes to after, like, he passes, right? Is that what you mean?
I'm just thinking if it goes to the homeowners association, I could see them saying, we don't want those people walking back there,
Right.
and just shut it off to everybody.
But I would
Do we have to have
think
that?
that they'd have to accept the,
Could we word it
It's
more
written, right?
benignly?
See what?
they'd have to accept the way that
To change it
it's,
to say that.
that it was approved, that
Yeah.
they can't change it in the
Prior approval
future.
from both
Right,
grantor
but
and
it says now
grantee.
that they can
Yeah.
restrict
Could we
access.
have that language added to it? Yeah.
The
we can.
wording's in there.
Heather's just suggesting change the language to
So,
grantor and
and,
grantee.
yeah, the grantor and grantee retains the right, so that way, or the grantor with permission, or whatever, with both parties, to figure out how to word it that way. And I'll reach out to Attorney Shockett he can word it that way. But basically, to have it state that both us that hold the CR and them that hold the land have to agree for any restrictions.
Right.
Yeah, maybe say
Yeah,
both
prohibiting of
both
access.
parties have to agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have that. I'll reach out to
Okay.
him and have him look at that and about change, and I'm sure that would make him feel better too.
Good catch, George.
Yeah. I'm gonna put, yay, George.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Attorney Shockett to see about him changing that language on it too. Obviously, we can't vote or anything on it yet. Today's just to finalize the language because we're still waiting for the baseline to be
Yeah.
done. They're working on that. I did let Attorney Shockett know when they do go up or do the baseline to let me know, because I'd like to tag along on that, just so I can see how it's. I'm never going to be able to do these things. I don't have the GIS experience, but I can at least. Then going forward to do the monitoring, I'll already know what it looked like the first time. People may remember me a year later when I go back out to do the monitoring and everything like that. So I just haven't heard from them when they're going to do that yet.
Have they sold all the houses in there?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. All the affordable houses.
there was the only ones. There was
700.
the little A affordable, which was the 2 duplexes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were all like 700 or 800.
The houses were 8.
8.
I think the duplexes were closer to 6.
For each duplex unit?
Yeah. You can live in Pepperell, they're selling ones right now for 800.
Duplexes? Oh,
Before ZBA denied that
crazy
project.
world.
I think they dropped it down to 775, but yeah.
In section 2A, number 6, are we assuming that motorized vehicles covers both electric and gas powered? Or do we need to
Yeah, because it's a
spell that
motor. It's not, doesn't say it's like emissions power, whatever it says motorized or anything with a motor. Don't battery operators still have motors in them? No?
They have electric motors, so
Electric
yeah,
motor.
that's kind of what I'm just wondering, like.
I'll make sure, I'll point that out too, to include, you want to include battery? Because you just, obviously the whole point is the tires.
Well, initially I thought of electric bicycles,
Yeah.
like, do we want that? But then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, you know, there are electric powered other things that are here that, you know, people might
Scooters.
push the envelope, but, you know, again, at the end of the day, it's probably, like I said, it's probably covered, but I just want to make sure that,
Well, this is for
read
the,
that,
the use, yeah.
you know?
I don't think the trails are long enough that we really have to worry about people wanting to bring bikes out on them.
Probably not, but
All right, I'll.
do we want Barbie Jeeps out there?
You don't want to take your Power Wheels out there? Come on.
Well, I'm just asking because I've seen people do some crazy things, like take them out and put, you know, 800 cold cranking amp 12-volt car batteries in those things, and they move.
Yeah, I know. My ex-husband did that to my kids.
Aren't there motorized scooters now, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's yeah.
Yeah,
That's- I just wasn't sure.
I will add.
Trying
I
to
will.
limit access for folks. I can't take
Motorized
my,
access.
I can't take my motorized wheelchair scooter thing. Are you trying to discriminate against people who need additional?
That I am not trying to do.
So we want to be careful in how we word it so that
Exactly.
we're not doing that. Right.
Yeah. So we could say
I don't know how
as
you word that.
recreational vehicles or recreational type things, right?
Oh, they look kind of fun. But yeah. I do.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think
I
you're
will.
right.
I will
I just want to
mention
be
that as
careful.
well.
We want to make sure that we don't want to piss
Oh, I
off
totally
the-
agree.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay.
Super awesome.
Who's responsible for the baseline report? It says in there that we are.
Yeah. No, they're the property owner is in the process of getting somebody out there to do it.
Right, that says that we are.
Yeah, but yeah, we're not doing the baseline.
So we should change that.
We should change that. Where is that? What?
First paragraph, isn't it?
Right.
It's down, I think it's the second page.
Okay.
I'll make a note.
Here we go.
You know, ideally with the
Paragraph on
state,
page
it's
2.
like, it should be both
Paragraph on
parties
page
working
2.
together, but
Oh, baseline. Got it.
Got it?
Yep. Oh, paired by the grantee. Got it.
where is it on that?
It's on the bottom of the second page in that large paragraph. It's about the fourth sentence down.
To grantor.
Yep, from grantee to grantor. Got it. Thank you. I'll have to verify that.
You're earning your pay tonight, George. Anything else?
All right, I'll make those. It's 3 suggestions. Okay. You have to be in the right head. For me, I had to be in the right headspace to read this because it's a lot of legal jargon. I'm like, I can't.
When they first submitted a draft was before you came on.
Yeah.
The section on conservation values was extremely minimal, and I think it was even incorrect about what wetlands were on the premises. So I sent a really detailed thing,
Yeah.
which they kept, but the attorney, I think, contacted our town council. Did they have to put those in? And it's like, it describes the property.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Council said, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's helpful.
yeah.
In A, number 3 talks about placing, filling, storing, blah, blah, blah. Vegetation cuttings generate offsite. Okay, waste or other substances or material whatsoever. However, in B2, actually 4, talks about the composting of stumps, trees, not necessarily from the property.
But you know,
Kind of conflicting, isn't it?
well, I was looking at that, but there's none of the CR except for that little area to the glacial erratic is outside of the buffer zone, right? I think pretty much all the abutting Shaker Mill Pond, that whole CR area is inside the buffer zone.
That's all in the buffer, yep.
I think
And
that
the-
section says you can't do it within the.
Yeah, the section
buffer
4
zone.
says no such activities will take place closer than 100 feet from any wetland, water body, or stream. It's the other side. I think there is a wetland on the other side, closer to the Harvard line. That side, there is a wetland on that side as well. And there's
Yeah.
there's open space on that side.
Okay, but it's all buffer zone still then, right?
It would be buffer zone, yeah.
So
It's not
maybe-
all buffer zone, but there is areas that are not in buffer that are in conservation, that are in the CR, but there's not exorbitant amount.
It's just the glacial erratic area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still pondering?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, how much common area is in that spot?
what do you mean common area? How much open space? It says in there, it's like 15 acres?
Like, I don't know, like, common area that would have to be cut and mowed by somebody other than a private property owner.
We don't,
Like
Is
in
there
the
any?
development, like if there's like a mailbox bank or something.
oh, there isn't.
Around the erratic, I mean.
No, I think the only area that would need to be cut, because I don't think, because the CR section by the pond is, all woods, right? They cut a trail in, but again, if we don't, its whole point of it wasn't to maintain it, and I think now, because it's been so long, I think you can find where they cut back. So it's very minimal there. There's no grass. You have the trail going in, but again, that may be 100 feet.
Okay.
I don't know what the other side looks like, and a whole other reason why I want to go out and walk it, because I haven't seen what the other side looks like. I've only seen the Shaker Pond side.
And how much of the conservation restriction abuts the golf course property?
I don't know. I think the first 4 houses are something else, and then it's the back or the further part, around the bulb is what abuts that, but that's an access road that goes in.
Do we have no dumping signs going in along, or conservation signs?
There's not on this property. They do, as part of this conservation restriction, they have to put, I think 3 granite bounds per lot to state where the conservation restriction starts. Because no work was in the buffer, we didn't have our signs, right? So it all fell on the planning board, and that was one of the things that the town planner pointed out, Danny pointed out, I was like, wait a minute, there's no signs. I go, I don't know. So the granite bounds are there.
Yeah.
Whether they have signs or not, but that'll just be an ongoing thing at that point.
To Mark's point, for that particular item, since there's very little that's not outside of the buffer zone, would it make sense for this particular CR to specify a little bit more clearly to add in a sentence, since with the exception of this area, everything is within buffer zone, it should be assumed that there should be no dumping in the CR at all, or something.
Yeah, with the way I read number in the 4, it more or less to me reads like composting. So if someone wants to take, the composting bins and turn it over, not a dumping of, I'm throwing my grass clippings in there, because that you can't do.
Yeah. Where does it say you can't do that?
That's the 3.
Okay.
That's the, so that's an A3, the placing, filling, dumping of soil, refuge, trash, feral parts, debris, yeah, rubbish, debris, junk, tree, and vegetation cuttings. So that would be your grass cuttings.
You add in Christmas trees?
I mean, we can add in all that, I mean, and it should, it generated offsite, which means I can't mow my lawn and then dump it in the CR, because even though I have that concrete bounds on my property, that's not that is the CR.
Yeah.
So that you can't put that, so when it says offsite, it means that's not something from across town that you dump there.
Yeah.
And then 4 is more or less if someone wants to put in my head, one of those little black composting bins, and you put that in there.
Yeah.
That's how I read it, but again, then that's an
When
object.
it says composting of stumps, you're not putting a stump inside a little black spinny thing.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah, you don't put trees in there, you don't put brush and limbs in there.
Could be a really big one.
Oh, yeah.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Oh,
wood, that's for
it's
the wood chipper.
originating on the range. I wonder if it's more or less for when they put the site in. I will ask for
And
clarification.
this is
on
standard writing, though. I mean, that,
No, I
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah.
But I guess like I'm saying,
I'm wondering if we can
you know,
modify
again, if this
it.
abuts the golf course
Yeah.
property, the maintenance garage.
Oh,
which
so
I
you-
thought it does.
Yeah, it does. So you're worried about that. You're worried about the.
Yeah, so I mean, let's be honest, when we went through there before this was even in there, on that road, along the side, heading towards the water, near the erratic, there was a ton of crap, vegetative type material dumped in there.
From the golf
Even
course, you
roofing
think?
material, I believe,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Oh, so you're concerned with the
So,
golf
I mean,
course doing
this
it,
was
not the
their-
butters.
This was their spot to put stuff,
Okay.
right? To keep it out of golf course eyesight and things like that. And I'm just concerned,
Okay,
you know, in that sense.
all right. I'll send that comment as well.
On that line, if you didn't have that comment, that might be a time to then say, this is one of our concerns. Would you have an objection to a few conservation no dumping signs in that area?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to, but we can't compel it, but we could ask.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about how messy that area was. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can see that. So, okay, that's fair. So your concerns just come more or less from the, see, I'm concerned like, oh, the homeowners can't do that, but you're concerned of the golf course doing it.
Yeah, because it says, you know, reserved right, the grantor reserves these rights,
Yeah.
right? And then something I've experienced in cleaning up the conservation property by my house, there's a lot of folks that believe biodegradable dog bags are fine.
Or fine, you know, and it's, yeah, because people don't
Does
understand
that
that.
need to be called out specifically, I guess?
Because, yeah, it might need to be, and we'll add that too, because I saw one when I was at Pine Meadow this morning. So I think don't people understand the whole point of picking it up is not to
Throw it somewhere else.
throw it somewhere else. The whole point of picking it up is to carry it up. Is the nutrients that are contained in it that you're removing to not get it back into the groundwater and supply and freshwater supply. That is the point. Not that, oh, it's in a biodegradable bag, so I can just chuck it and it's fine.
So
That's
that's
not how
why
that
people
works.
chuck those? They think it's, because it's like,
I'm almost, because I know my.
Or they just don't want to carry them.
They don't want to carry, so I think it's a
But again-
twofold, but I think that they think the biodegradable bags are like, oh, well, it's not plastic, I'm not littering, and eventually will biodegrade.
Generally,
it's
yes,
plastic,
it's usually what it is.
It's biodegradable plastic,
Because-
though.
Yes, because
Microplastic.
Because that's my
And then
big
as you're walking
thing is
out-
people are understanding the
Chuck it
whole
to the side
point
where no one's
of
looking.
microplastics at that aspect.
I had a discussion with a lady and
It's that's, and
children
even
about
in my
that.
head, and more dangerous.
I
Plastic.
mean, I would rather if somebody didn't bag it and just left.
Left it, exactly, 100%.
Yeah, than adding in the plastic element. Yeah.
Let's make corn. I said it's made of corn.
No, that's, they have
Polymers?
they have polyvinyl,
Whatever that is.
polyvinyl
Nanofibers.
polymers in there, yeah. It's a polyvinyl something, and that's just, it's
PVC?
Can you throw
plastics.
them in the compost thing at the transfer station?
I wouldn't.
I don't, but I was just curious.
Oh, the bags?
People
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, we do our normal food waste compost
Yeah.
bags.
I
since
think
it's
it would
leaking
have to
in, but I
depend
didn't know
on
about
what
the
they're
poop.
made of. I know some of those bags, I don't know the ones for dog waste, but like food wrap ones you can get that are made from like avocado or
Yeah,
whatever like that.
cornstarch and stuff.
I think those would be fine. Some of the other ones, like I said, because I'm crazy about plastic. I started using laundry detergent sheets, and then I was like, oh wait, there's something about plastic, and I read the ingredients. I'm like, crap, it's got the polyvinyl stuff. Like, oh, well, that's
Hard to get away from.
Yeah.
I have a solution, and I have to then change my laundry detergent for the 4th time, and there'll be no more plastic. But once you see the word polymer, it's a plastic.
Yeah.
And they say it's a biodegradable plastic, but it just makes microplastics, and then that'll just get in the compost, which is
And in the
it's
clouds.
everywhere.
And it rains back down on us.
Yeah.
And you eat it, and you drink it, and it's fine.
We are it.
Anything else on the conservation restriction?
Okay, this is why other people read these things, because I miss them once I read them too many times. Okay, so I will send those four or five comments over. And we're just waiting for the baseline to get done.
All right, very good,
By
thank
the
you.
end of all this, I'll be expert on conservation restrictions.
Hey, okay, oh, never mind. We're done with that one.
Yeah.
I have a question later. I'll
Okay.
ask it later.
Okay.
Conservation office updates.
Okay, so the big update is yesterday from the trucking company, Berkey's Trucking Company, which is now North Atlantic Concrete on Groton Harvard Road, had a 70-ton crane somehow leave their property and fall down the embankment and land in Pine Meadow yesterday morning. I actually get to be one of the first people to know, which never happened, so I was very excited about that. I was on site. I went in from Pine Meadow first when I got there. Then I saw everybody on top of the hill, and I go, I should probably go up there too. So I did a run and went up. Police and fire were on site. We were there for about an hour and a half. They removed the crane, didn't get out of there until 6 o'clock last night. When it was finally out, I had them install some erosion controls because that whole embankment now is open soil. Knowing it was going to rain, I wanted to ensure it wasn't going to wash out and make anything worse. I went out this morning. To my very much surprise, I like to be wrong, there was no channeling or anything in that open soil from the rain from last night. I don't know how about today, so I'll go back out tomorrow just to verify. At least 2 to 3 trees were taken down by that, and there is a divot in the ground as well. There was no leakage of oil or hydraulic fluid. It was very lucky that
That's surprising.
the diesel tank was actually facing up. And when they pulled it out, they wanted to upright it and then bring it up on its wheels so it didn't have scrape anything. So yeah, that was good. There was no.
They were able to bring that on its wheels?
It was when I went out at 2:30. I wanted to see them how they were taking it out. I was expecting it to be out, but I don't know how long this takes. There was four tow trucks, so they were tied. They were tied to each other. So there was 2 and 2, and they were anchoring each other down in order to yank it up. So it was pretty extensive to pull that out.
Wow, that would have been something to see.
So I didn't know, I've never had this happen before, I don't know, but if it's something that we have asked them to replace the trees that got knocked down, or do we just let that go? Do we ask for any sort of restoration on that aspect, or we just bite it to the pack of like, oh, it's as if a tree had fallen, during a windstorm type of thing?
Yeah, I guess is it our jurisdiction?
It's our land, right? That's what I'm
It's our
saying.
land, but is that our?
Yeah, I don't. That was my question. Like, I don't know. Like, can we do that? Is that something the commission can
We could
ask
try,
for?
because it is our land. It did it invaded our territory. If looking at your picture though, that slope up there where they have stuff parked is so steep.
It's so steep.
And I wonder with all the rain and the high groundwater, if that's why the slope collapsed. They're
Yeah,
parking too near.
there's a question on that. That property should be coming for site plan approval, hopefully in the upcoming months. I did let the town planner know what had happened, because my comment when we had a brief discussion with the owner and the engineer for that property, I made the comment that I wanted to see some sort of fence, not being allowed to park so close to the slope, because in the past, just walking Pine Meadow, everyone has seen it, a tire or whatever that's fallen down the embankment, that we could hopefully keep that from happening. And the comment I got was, why?
Well,
Now we have
a why. Now we have a reason why. So when I told the town planner, he said, no, we'll most certainly ask for that. So we'll have a setback from parking any equipment along that border. The fill on there is obviously, as you can see when you go out there, is just from whoever owned the property beforehand in the past, God knows how long, it's just made up of junk.
Yep.
So from what aspect we can get it, I don't know about getting it cleaned, if everything falls over, or what we can do on that part of it. So that's why I was like, I don't know what we can
Is
do
that
on
their
our
property, that part?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, like, where the embankment starts, like, where's their property?
Where their property ends, there's some flags out there, is maybe a foot after the toe of that slope on the bottom.
Okay.
Because there were some flags out there, and that's what we assumed, that those were flags to probably mark the property line.
How about horse trading? We could, town planner, we could make the suggestion, park further away and let's put a fence in.
Yeah.
Or we would like to see some restoration plantings.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, not or, and.
Or and?
No,
How big were the trees that were
I mean, I don't know how to guess diameter on that aspect, but they were about this big.
maybe a
12 inches?
Yeah.
give or take. Did you
I
want
mean, you can, when you go out, if you walk Pine Mountain, you're like, where is it? You can tell.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's just snow trees now.
zoom in?
So that's sort of an open area, right?
It's not a very dense area.
It'll grow back pretty quickly, is my point.
That's what my thought is too, but I don't know
Yeah.
how quick, because when you're talking, you lost.
I think if you go out tomorrow and you do see some washing down from the rain, assuming that we'll continue to get the same,
It's gonna just,
maybe we could ask for, can you put some things in there that will grow quickly to stabilize it?
Stabilize it, that's what my thought was, because I said there's erosion controls there up now. I'm gonna wait to see how it looks tomorrow, maybe possibly let them know on Monday how the weather's looking. If it's not gonna rain anytime soon, that they can take those out, because I don't want those to stay with the growing season starting so soon and impeding anything, but we have to keep an eye on that slope from washing
But,
out.
I mean, if you don't see anything as of
If I don't
tomorrow,
see anything as tomorrow, I think it's
we
not.
got 2 inches of rain
it's
by
not-
the end
it's
of
not-
tomorrow, then yeah, it's probably not gonna
It's
be a
probably not
problem.
going to, unless we get a wicked dry spell. And then rains, that's the only.
So really, it was just parked there and this thing just gave.
So, I don't know. They said it was parked there, but the way it landed, the thought was somehow it flipped, but the boom was in, so it's like one of these things where like, oh, I wish it was on video to see how the heck
there was
this thing
nobody in
happened.
it?
There was nobody in it.
That's good.
Just parked there.
It was just parked there.
So I think that's.
So whether
the-
someone didn't put a brake
Yeah,
on
the way
and it
it
started
looks like it
rolling.
crossed right there too. Is
Yeah,
like the,
I mean, if you have that sharper slope
Yeah.
did you want to? Oh,
built
you have
up.
it.
Yeah.
and
I have so many pictures of it.
it just, all this rain, it's just,
It was the heaviest one out, so whether it was just too close, if someone didn't have a certain support, whatever happened, but it happened.
so the planning board can deal with it then when it goes for site plan
Yes.
review, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make them do it.
Yep, and then you guys can go in as property owners, as butters.
Must have been a sick feeling when they came to the site and said, "Wait, somebody stole our crane."
So I got the call from Janet Provakis, who said a person called her to say that there was something in there. She called me and DPW thinking it might have been the dump. But as soon as she told me that there was something, equipment there, I'm like, I know exactly where it is. But I'm like, send me the picture that you have, just so I know. And yeah, I'm like, yep, I knew it. So I didn't want to go prancing on some of it, so I went in from Pine Meadow, and then I saw the fire and police up top. I'm like, okay, I'll go around and see them. And they're like, how did you know so fast? Janet called me. She's like, oh, dispatch didn't call dispatch. I said, I don't guess not. I'm like, no, because she was told by somebody else. She didn't know where it was, so she just let me know, no, it was my property, and DPW know, because in case it was a dump. She didn't know where it was.
I gotta believe somebody drove it, because you can see the one next to it, up at the top.
Yeah.
That was parked properly. But, I mean, unless there was truly pavement all the way out here.
There's no, it's not, it's just a fill.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, I mean, probably stuck it in reverse, mistakenly jumped out or something. As the back wheels first went down, they're like, oh crap.
Who knows? I mean, you know, you're going with what they said to you.
Yeah.
It can be asked when they're on camera is, how did it happen? Was somebody in it? And if somebody was in it and drove, then that's one thing. But if nobody was in it and it just, the whole thing collapsed, then that gives us grounds to say,
look like
town to say, move further, put up a fence, stay away.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. It's like, oh, well, that's a fun morning. That's how my day's gonna go. But so that's the main update I have on that. It's like I ordered the signs for the Trailblazers for Pine Meadow. Planning board will have 3rd Street at their next meeting. We'll be there for that.
So related to that, when does Stratton Hill start in April?
Stratton Hill is now going to be continued again. That'll be on, I think Danny updated the website with that, I think until May. Still haven't seen updated plans on that side. So we're still waiting for that. What else we have? The warrant article, the select board will be approving the town warrant at their meeting on Tuesday the 2nd. The pond treatment is on there for $25,000, not the 30, but that's still more than enough money that we need for that. I'm gonna verify with Robert if I need to go to the select board meeting in case there's gonna be any questions for that, or if we just expect it'll be fine just for town meeting. And of course I'll be there for town meeting on the 22nd. Thank you.
What's the status of the contract with Water and Wetlands?
I had Robert sign it. I hadn't seen it, the signed copy back from Water and Wetlands yet, but they know everything's been approved, so we're good on that end. The question with the Phragmites, they had updated it for that, and they're well aware of it, and they'll make sure they go look for it. If there's in there, they'll make sure they cover that on their end.
Good.
So I think that's about it on my end. The only other plug I will state is we're still working on the stormwater utility fund. We still meet on that once a month. That will hopefully be coming to fall town meeting. We're working on the cost per unit at this point, so what the fee will be. We're finishing that aspect of it up, and if and when what the credit system will look like, and then starting regulations.
Any member updates?
Nope.
Negative?
Nope.
You had something, right?
No, that was, the question was, since site plan review at Planning Board with Stratton Hill.
Yep.
I got that answered. I
I
can't speak.
saw the email that Susan sent
Yep.
to
I
you
didn't
about.
see.
She will
Wrapping
email me,
trees.
yeah, she emailed me and John about the beavers and trees, beavers chewing up trees on Snake Hill Road, which the DPW had gone out and caged them, and I noticed several of them. I've been looking at trees on Calvin Street the last few weeks, and there's quite a few of them that actually have been caged since I mentioned to them a few months ago, so I don't know where she was talking about that needed to be done, because there's quite a few of them that had been done a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wrapped all the one.
Yeah, you wrapped all your ones. Your neighbor, I was at your neighbor's house a week or two ago because he wants to put the deck on and then possibly a fence. So he mentioned to me that he might be caging some of his trees because he saw that you had done yours. We put that thing up on Facebook, so I told Susan that. She was like, okay, she just responded back, thank you. So we did that part. In the spring newsletter, went out, I think earlier this week, or
Yeah, I saw
last
that.
week, had the thing about our tree policy and how we do that, and I think I already got one call on it, so hopefully that helps out some, because there's been a lot of that, because if any of you saw on the news, they had a thing on one of the news channels that insurance companies are doing Google Earth images and telling people they need to cut down trees. So I had to go out to 26 Calvin. He needs to take down, I think he's taken like 8 or 9 trees down on his property. And he has hardly any lawn. It's just trees in his backyard. It's beautiful. It's all just nice. And he has to take down quite a few because his home insurance is making him do that. I asked if he would so kindly as to try to replant some vegetation to make up for some of the trees he's taking down. He's like, sure, no problem. I don't care. So that's the second one that I've made that suggestion to, if they could do some plantings in regards to the trees coming down. They're like, okay.
So they can do that without any attention to like the Wetland Protection Act? Yeah.
Are they showing you documentation from the insurance companies?
No.
They're just saying, I got this call.
That was the one. I've only had one that did that, but he had no problem redoing, doing the plantings to make up for it. So, and then the other one on Oak Ridge needed to cut some trees down. I made a suggestion to him too, and he had no problem doing that as well. So, hopefully we can get more people if they're cutting anything down. Because you can plant shrubs if you want. The one on 26 Calvin, I go, there's no way you can do 2 to 1 with shrubs. Your whole yard would just be shrubs at that point. But I'm like, as much as you can. You know, if you could just do something to replace what you're taking down, okay. And they were going to leave as much of a stag as they could too on that aspect.
When's the next
Plant
newsletter?
shorter trees.
The newsletters go out in quarterly, so the next one will be for summer.
That
But
would
we
be something you'd want to, in the next newsletter,
yes,
like recommendations saying, you know, some of you have called saying that you're being told by insurance companies to replace, cut down trees. Here are some options, like if you take them down, like these are some varieties to plant in place of them, if you'd like, you know, again, shorter trees, 10 foot, 20 foot, whatever, crab apples, whatever, you can put all that kind of stuff in or something, whatever.
yeah. We can always update and do something like that. And as far as the Facebook posts that we can do, we can always do stuff like that. If anybody has any suggestions of things they think that they want to put out there, we can do that.
I think as we get into spring, especially, it might be a little late for the next newsletter, but reminding folks that when they're fertilizing their lawn, like what are better products to use?
Yes.
Since, I mean, that's not just
it's a state law. You cannot use a phosphorus fertilizer unless you have a special approval and license from the state. So yes, I will put something up like that. And as far as, I did have somebody call on Hemlock about cutting lawns and dumping of leaves and stuff, and I said, oh no, actually it's better for your lawn if you leave it 2 to 3 inches taller, and your grass clippings are actually natural fertilizer if you leave them on your lawn. So yeah, we can create something like that going in this, now that season's starting, to verify that. I can make that up and do that in the next couple weeks.
especially because it's applicable to everyone, right? It's not just folks in our jurisdiction.
Yeah, because that actually helps with the stormwater section. I think that might be part of the MS4 requirement, so I have to just double check when their posting is for that as well, because I think that's coming up, that they'll put that up, the DPW.
On the insurance companies using Google,
Yeah.
would that be worth just maybe talking to the circuit rider or something, just say,
Yeah.
starting to have this situation?
I can send the question out to the
'cause it's
conservation
like,
agents.
You shouldn't necessarily assume that the
Yeah, and
insurance
so
companies
I've only had the one.
They don't.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
they have their own
Like I
issues.
said, I've only had the one person say it, and it was Lulu. I'm like, he's like, you've heard this? I said, yeah, no, I heard it. And looking at his yard, I could tell it wasn't something like he just wanted to cut trees down, because it was all trees, and very little lawn in the back. So I know it wasn't like he's using it as an excuse, the type of thing. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a cheap thing to do either.
Yeah.
No.
But it's one thing when they come to do a site visit and they're looking and they're seeing a tree leaning, and that's good. That's a fine thing. But be looking at really non-specific Google image.
Yeah, like I said, that's why with the Third Street, I had a hard time with the
Yeah.
floodplain, because it
Yeah.
uses a Google Earth image and then puts the floodplain on top of that, and you just can't, I can't see a house when you're looking at vegetation on top of that. Like, I can't tell you where the road, you
Yeah.
can't tell.
Yeah.
Which was so much better when they didn't do that. They started that in like 2010, and it's horrible.
So you did go out to my neighbors?
Mm-hmm.
Look, and that's okay?
Yeah, because where I did administrative approval on the deck he's putting in, because he's extending his deck over an existing walkway.
It's towards
And I'm like, well, you're just putting it, yeah, I'm like, you're taking it out, like the stairs? He's like, no. I said, then yeah, you're fine. I don't see it being any need. When he goes to put the fence in, that's the only thing I might need to have him come in for the fence he's gonna put in, because it's so close to the water. I mean, a matter of like 3 or 4 feet from the water. But the deck he was installing, it's the helix posts that don't do any disturbance. The issues of impervious over the majority of what he's covering over is already pavement now, or concrete, so it's not, I didn't see any need to have him come in for an RDA for that, when it's already a walkway there that he's just basically covering over and not removing.
Yep.
Is he supporting right on top of the existing concrete, or is he digging through the concrete to be able to put the helical?
He's covering, so the posts are going outside of the concrete area and the dirt spot, but the helix footings that don't do any disturbance, they just drill right in. So the only issue would be is the fact that it's what small section is lawn, or actually it's actually like mulched area that's now going to have a cover over it. But it was such a small amount that I just didn't see the need for it to come in.
Okay.
Because the majority of the area is already a walkway. Unless he was removing the walkway, then I would have made him, but he said he was going to leave it. I thought, oh, sounds good to me. He was a very nice man.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Just make sure that dog doesn't go swimming again in the middle. Was it February?
Oh my goodness. That was the funniest story for me. Did you hear about that? His son came in early, very early in the morning, and their dog had gone out on the ice, and it was frozen on the edge, but not further out. And the dog slid in, and a little dinky thing, he couldn't get out. So Mr. Vale went out, and he did the same thing as the dog. Got on it, slid in. So he grabbed the dog and chucked the dog out. And he said he was having a really hard time getting out of the water. And when he finally did, he realized that he had left his pajama bottoms in the pond.
Oh, no.
He goes, "You didn't see me, did you?" I go, "No, I didn't see you."
Yeah, he left that part of the story out, but yeah, no.
He left that part.
But it was funny that, yeah, because I mean, as a kid, I grew up with a Cocker Spaniel that used to chase ducks on the pond, and she'd get halfway out, and she'd start swimming back, and getting lower and lower in the water, and you have to get it in the rowboat and go out and get her and put her back in, and like half hold on to her while you're rowing, because she would chase the ducks back out again. This is why you don't have like hunting dogs, sporting, because this is what they do. She wanted to get those ducks.
Is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.